A police officer who dies in the line of duty will always make news, but the death of Officer Lois Marrero continued to attract attention long after she was laid to rest. Unlike other fallen officers, Marrero will be remembered more for her life than her death. Marrero made the ultimate sacrifice for the city she protected, but she also put a face on the issue of domestic partnerships and provided an example of what can occur when these relationships go unprotected. Her story revolves around the people she loved and how their lives would play out in the media. Would Marrero's murder lead to national recognition of same-sex partnerships?
We're relying strictly on what the law states. And again, what the law states is that in the state of Florida, same-sex marriages are not recognized for any purpose.
Or would it simply show how a lack of legal protection can tear lives apart? Officer Lois Marrero was gunned down by a bank robber in Tampa, Florida on July 6, 2001. She was a 19-year veteran of the police force who was planning to retire in only 15 months. Marrero was also a lesbian who left behind her domestic partner of 10 years, Mickie Mashburn. Masbhurn, too, is an officer for the Tampa Police Department. She remembers the last time that she spoke to Lois.
Lois beeps me. I call her back, and we're talking briefly about going to the basketball game. And I know that something's coming across the radio. I can't really make out what they're saying, but you can hear it in the background. You can hear that a lot of people are talking. And she says, hold on a minute. And then she came back on and says, I've got to go. And I go, oh, okay. I said, look, please be careful. I always told her that. Please be careful. Please do, and I'll see you when I get off, and I love you. She said, me too.
But Masbhurn would never have a chance to talk to Lois again. Marrero was shot and killed outside a Tampa apartment complex a short time later. Masbhurn thinks back on how their relationship began.
As I got to know her, I thought, my God, you know, she is so neat, so intelligent. I started learning so much. And I knew probably about, I'd say probably a couple weeks after I really got to spend time with her, I said, my God, this is who I need to spend my future with. I said, I want to marry you. And she looked at me and said, you've got to be kidding me. And I said, have you ever thought, that far ahead, or have you ever considered that with you living the lifestyle that you live? And she goes, I think it's great. When do you want to do it?
They shared a commitment ceremony in 1991.
While we're doing the ceremony and everything, we were, she gets so nervous and stuff. She's trying to put the ring on the wrong hand, and I'm going, no, it doesn't go there. It goes over here, It was the happiest day of my life. And I will always cherish that. There's no doubt that Lois was my soul partner. There was just so much that we did. Everything, we complemented each other. Everything she liked, I liked. I love Lois more than anybody I've ever loved.
Masbhurn kept a very low profile immediately after Marrero's death. She appeared in the news media with the family of her deceased partner, but she remained quiet.
The time has now come.
Masbhurn had never intended to become a champion for domestic partnership rights, but that's what happened on August 17th, 2001.
Inasmuch as Mickie enjoyed a caring relationship with her partner, Lois Marrero, she has decided to seek the surviving spouse benefits as well as Lois's contribution to the pension fund. And should the pension board deny the application, we are prepared to take whatever steps are necessary to recover what is rightfully hers. Moreover, she strongly feels that this is what Lois would have wanted.
You think Lois's family will support you in this effort?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
The day after Masbhurn announced that she would seek survivor benefits, the Marrero family began painting a different picture of Masbhurn's relationship with Lois Marrero. Family members claimed that Masbhurn and Marrero were more roommates than soulmates, and at the time of her death that Lois was involved in another relationship.
What was clear was that had this been a heterosexual couple, that article not only wouldn't have been written, but the questions would never have been raised. There's not a widow of a police officer who has died in the line of duty that would have to endure those kinds of questions, any kind of analysis of the fidelity of their relationship.
The rift between the Marreros and Masbhurn seems difficult to comprehend when you consider the past.
Through our entire 10 years, as far as I was concerned, they loved me, they treated me very well. I mean, I loved them, and I still do. You go through that and you see the Christmas and the Thanksgivings and the New Year's, and then you come to where we're at now, and you go, was I that blind?
You know, shortly after Lois was killed, the family came together. They supported Mickie, and, you know, they were there by her side. And there were no allegations. There was no attempt to discredit the relationship because the relationship was there. It was real. Then when the family started talking about, you know, possibly a wrongful death lawsuit, that was where Mickie just said, no, you know, accidents happen. You know, Lois is a hero. She gave her life doing what she loved to do. No, I don't support a wrongful death lawsuit against the city. And if you go back and you look at when the family really kind of started making a little turn, you can tie it back to that time.
It's the kind of ugliness that so many same-gender couples face because there's no legal recognition of our relationships. And so rather than be in a place where you are simply able to grieve the loss of your partner, you have to defend your relationship, climb the legal obstacles that are put in place, and also oftentimes encounter a family that may have been somewhat tolerant of your relationship, suddenly turning quite hostile.
Frank Galliano understands what it's like to fight a hostile family. He lost his domestic partner of 4 years on March 3, 2000. Galliano's partner, Rob Pierce, was a TV news photographer for the NBC affiliate in Miami. Pierce was covering a news event in the station's chopper when it went down. The crash took his life and shattered Galliano's. The Pierce family left Galliano out of the memorial services and completely dismissed the couple's relationship.
Prior to going to the memorial, his family told me that I was not allowed to say that Rob was my lover, or that we were partners, or anything, because it would upset their father. And being a respectful person, they didn't. I let everybody know what he meant to me and how I felt, and that I would miss him, and that my life would never ever be the same without him. The next day, they take me to go back to the house. When we get there, all the locks are changed. Drive around, finally we see somebody there. I called the house, it was one of the sisters. They put their attorney on the phone saying that I have no rights to anything here, and that the only way I was going to get in that house was with a court order.
Galliano's partner died without a will, and the house was in his partner's name.
It was constantly, if you don't have anything in writing, that's it, you know, and I understand that now. I understand that you have to put everything in writing, because until laws are passed, and even then, we should always take care of the ones we love.
We had talked about it, but you know what the problem of it is? We talked about it. And I think that's what a lot of people do, because you get complacent and you think, you know, I'm 40 years old. What the heck's going to happen to me? There's nothing ever going to happen to me. We'll get to it tomorrow. Well, guess what? That day did happen to us. And because of that day, we're in this situation now. This situation is like this now because we didn't take the time to do that.
Bill McBride is a 2002 gubernatorial candidate in Florida. He's also a former managing partner for Holland & Knight, one of the nation's largest law firms, and the first in Florida to offer domestic partnership benefits.
Well, it's clear to me that Lois Marrero was a modern-day hero. I mean, people that daily go out into on their jobs, risking their lives for me and for other people. So I identify with her, and I would certainly feel a great deal of shame if she wasn't treated as well as other members of the police force. There shouldn't be different approaches to people who are doing the same job, risking their lives. And certainly if we can do this in jobs less stressful or dangerous, we should be able to do it for those who are, you know, making the ultimate sacrifice.
Marrero and Masbhurn's situation has caused others within the Tampa Police Department to reevaluate their own pensions and benefits.
When I have another child added to my family, another plate on my table, because me and my partner are both natural parents of each of the children, we will end up paying $240 or roughly $240 a month health care insurance. Whereas if I were married to a male police officer, specifically police officer with the city of Tampa, we would fall under a family health care plan, which means we would not pay anything for our insurance for each other or our children.
You don't think my money is going for naught until you see what really happened, and then, you know, it's just incredibly wrong.
You know, Lois was a fighter, and it's just like Sheila said, if Lois happened to be here today, we would have done and passed all of this. We would already be in city council. We would be past that. We would probably be sitting in Washington, D.C. having this session now.
National level.
Yeah, we probably would be talking to George Bush.
She's not here to fight now, but we have to fight for her, and I think that
She would have wanted this.
she'll want it, she would want it, and she would have done it herself had the tables been turned. And I think it's just our position now that we need to carry on with it and fight ourselves, because that's what's going to get things done, and it needs to be done.
On August 28, 2001, Mashburn and her attorneys appeared before the Tampa Fire and Police Pension Board to request Marrero's pension.
The pension policy, as it currently exists, violates Florida law. It violates Chapter 760 of the Florida Civil Rights Act, which prohibits discrimination in employment based on, among other things, marital status. You have the opportunity now, pre-litigation, pre-costs, pre-expenses, to resolve this situation.
From the legal opinions that Mr. Loper has rendered and what I read in the policy, I believe the heirs of her pension benefits should be the estate. And I'm going to make a motion that we deny Ms. Masbhurn's request for pension benefits. All in favor of the motion? Those opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Lois's mother, Maria, looked on as the pension board denied Mashburn's request for benefits.
We will, as part of the estate, make our own formal claim and application to receive the pension benefits.
The Marreros believe that Mashburn has no claim to Lois's pension benefits because their relationship had ended, not because Lois was in a same-sex partnership.
I love Lois. Whether she was gay or not, she was special.
What we're very firm on is the truth. That's where our strong stance is to make sure that anybody that is speaking on behalf of Lois is speaking the truth. And when we see someone claiming that something existed when it did not exist, then the family is going to stand up for that.
This is the perfect example of why same-sex relationships need to be recognized. And because if Lois and Mickie's relationship had been recognized, none of this would have happened. The ultimate tragedy in all of this, beyond the horrible tragedy of Lois being murdered in the line of duty, is that as a result of the laws in this state and the city's pension plan not recognizing Lois and Mickie's relationship, Lois, instead of being remembered as the hero she was, her reputation, her name has now been, in essence, dragged through the mud when all Mickie wanted to do is honor her partner, to honor the woman she loved, and to do what she believes in her heart and in her soul is what Lois would have wanted.
It may be too late for me because it's after the fact, but it's got to be changed for the future. What has happened is unfair. I honestly believe that Lois would be up there now going, "You're too calm." I know she wouldn't have been. There's no doubt that she would have wanted this pension to change. There's no doubt that she would have wanted gay marriages legalized. Right now, the most I've got to think about is to do what I feel Lois would have wanted me to do, and that's to make a change.
Being a cop, when anybody gets killed, especially in the line of duty or somebody related to us, it hits home regardless if you're real close or what. We're all real tight as a family.
Think of you. we're putting together a benefit for Mickie Mashburn, the partner of Lois Marrero, the officer that was slain on, I think, July 6th. Trying to raise awareness to get some policies changed within the department.
I feel that Mickie should get everything that Lois would want her to have.
The community pulling together, it was good to see. It's nice to see people come together when there's a crisis.
I think how Mickie's handled it has been not only incredibly professional, but amazingly personal in her own right. She stayed behind the scenes. She hasn't even had time to grieve and to mourn, and I don't know that it's fair to put her on a pedestal and to make her be a spokesperson for this. But if she so chooses to do so, then I think a lot of people should rally behind her to make sure that Lois's death wasn't in vain.